Who's starting? Do you want me to start?
You could start. You don't.
We haven't done one of these for a bit, so it's a bit weird. It was a bit weird the first time thinking about it. I think the first time I did it, I was sat in a motorhome overlooking the sea, the Mediterranean on the coast of Sicily, which seemed a little bit more relaxing than we're sat in the English Midlands at the moment in our little apartment we call the Cooler. So I'm Jason.
Julie.
And my wife Julie. We're just doing this little video just to sort of give you some idea what we're about and where we are sort of with our lives and what we're planning to do. It sounds a bit heavy. It's not going to be that heavy, I hope. Doubt it. Although I've been on the wagon for 3 months, so I'm sober, so that might not help a little bit, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so it's mid-September. I'm still working a contract at the moment, so I'm an IT contractor. At least I am at the moment. I probably won't be for long. So
we've 14 days left.
14 working days to go. Contract finishes, which is something we've chosen to do on purpose. So the contract could keep going, but we've made the shout that we've got enough now. We've got enough money and we've got enough sort of material things that we can go and chill out for a bit more. So do you want to add a bit to that?
Can I just say, if you can hear snoring, that's Charlie, the dog. He's just down the side of us here having a little snore. I finished a full-time job in January, and since then I've been running my own business, sort of part-time, project managing building of this little apartment place, and generally doing all the stuff that we don't actually know how we ever got done when we were both working full-time, really.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff to do, isn't there?
Yeah. So what we've done is we've written out a few questions that we'd probably quite like to ask us if we didn't know us, and we thought we'd just ask each other and just do it sort of an informal interview type thing, I guess. So shall I kick off with the first one?
Yeah, go.
Okay, so Jason, what are our plans?
I've never quite known what I want to do with my life, and I think that probably still applies now. So I'm 43 and I don't really know what I want to do. One thing I do, we took 2 years out, but about 4 years ago now we stopped working. We both had corporate jobs and we stopped doing those. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was a good one. We took a two-year break. It's all on the OurTour blog. We wrote about it every day on the blog, which we really enjoyed doing. And we loved that time out travelling around for lots of different reasons. And then when we came back, really one of the main goals that we set was to enable ourselves to be able to do that kind of thing again. It's a massive luxury to be able to do that, obviously, but with a bit of dedication, quite a bit of dedication, I guess, and sort of living life on purpose and seriously looking at what it is you want to do with your life. I think it's certainly proved possible for us to get into a position where we can do it again. And the thing we're going to do is, so we had a motorhome last time. We called Dave, an old Heimer. We sold Dave thinking that it was going to take us longer to get to the point where we're at now than it did. So we'd probably kept Dave, I think. Poor old Dave went down the road.
We thought it was going to be 5 to 10 years, and then it went down to 5 years, and then it went down to 3 years, and in the end we've managed it in 2 years.
Yeah, so all this sort of stuff about what we've managed is, but we've basically got ourselves into a position where we've got enough money invested in assets, mainly in property for us. We've got a few rental properties that they're managed by someone else as well, so we don't have to be around. So we've basically got enough passive money coming in without us having to go and sit in the office. Basically, enough money comes in. It's not a massive amount. We live on about £15,000 a year. But that's enough, for what we want to do. So we're in a position where we can go and do other things, try other things out. So I suppose getting to what I think is the answer to the question is a long way round. But I think what we're planning to do now is, so we bought a newer motorhome that we've called Jagan, Cryptically, it's the name of a town in Poland that's just on the outskirts of it is Stalag Luft 3, which was the Great Escape camp. So it's our Great Escape. This motorhome, we're sneaking off again. So in a few weeks I'll finish my contract and we'll head off for a few months, which is a bit weird because it sounds like, well, people at work, so I'm back in a sort of corporate environment now, and if someone's taking 2 or 3 weeks off, especially if they're taking 3 weeks off, it's seen as quite a long thing. And I know in America, if anybody's watching this from America, that's just unheard of, really. I think, from what I've heard, people generally don't take holiday at all. But now 2 or 3 weeks off hardly feels like it's worth bothering. It feels like, I know it just probably sounds absolutely crazy, but that's just how it feels after we've spent such a long time out.
We've been spoiled.
We have been spoiled, I think. Yeah, I think we have. Getting that sensation of freedom is quite addictive. So we're gonna have this 2 or 3 month break, which will just be a bit of a break, really, just to warm us up again, I guess. And then next year we'll come back for Christmas, and a friend of mine's getting married, so I've been asked to be his best man, which is fantastic. So I'm going to do that in January, and then we're going to head off in late January, February, probably for like, I don't know, 10 or 11 months. And some friends of ours who've got themselves in a similar position are already gearing up to go to Morocco in a year's time, or over a year and a half's time, and then meet in Venice in May 2017. You might not even be alive then, you don't know, do you? But I don't usually plan more than a couple of weeks ahead.
I have to get a better calendar that goes further ahead now.
But after that, we don't really know. I don't think we're just going to sort of like wander around, travelling around endlessly. I don't think something else will come up at some point. So I guess we'll see. Okay, so I'll ask you the next one then.
Yeah.
It's number 3, is it?
Yeah.
So where are we going?
I think you just answered that one.
Did I?
So, we're going for a couple of months. As usual, our plans are vague. Last time we went travelling, the plan was to get to Calais and turn right. I think was the original plan. So another time we've turned left, so we might go straight on this time when we reach Calais and go down the middly bit. Technical name. But we're going to go down France. As it's going to be sort of October, November time, we're going to probably head south for a bit of warmth. We loved San Sebastian in northern Spain when we were there last time. So we might go there for a couple of days. Some pinchos. And then work our way across the Pyrenees, perhaps, to the French Mediterranean coast.
That's the one.
Rubbish at geography. Don't follow us.
You should be ashamed. You've been around there about 4 times.
And then maybe pootle along the coast for a bit, depending on what the weather's doing. We've heard good reports about the Camargue, which is apparently a place where lots of birds go. And come back possibly through the mountains, again depending on weather, how we're feeling, what's going. It's just nice to just be able to wake up in the morning and go on recommendations of somebody you met the night before of what's good and where to go, and not have any fixed plans. And then when we come back, like Jay mentioned, Christmas, New Year, wedding, then when we go again, we're hoping to do Scandinavia because we never actually managed it last time. So February's probably going to be a bit chilly, so we'll have to pootle around somewhere first and then head up over the top of Scandinavia in the summer of next year. So that's as far as the plans go.
Yeah, Norway's supposed to be awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
So get up to the Arctic Circle and have a look round.
So with the snoring, if you can hear the snoring, I guess that begs the question, how's Charlie, and is he coming with us?
Charlie's our Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Is he 9, is he?
He'll be 9 soon. Yeah, he'll be 9
9
while we're away.
He's 9. He's showing no signs of giving up, apart from the fact he's got a bit lazier. Still loves beaches though. So he came with us last time. So you can take dogs outside the UK, take them anywhere in the world now and bring them back, as long as you comply with the pet passport scheme. There's none of that stuff about quarantine. All that's gone now. So we took him to. He even went to Africa. He's been to the Sahara Desert with us a couple of times. He's a bit bemused by camels, but he does like to eat camel poo, and he loves dates.
Nice dates, fresh off the tree.
Free dates, fantastic. So it's quite comfortable in the motorhome for him, I think. So he's coming with us. Yeah, that's it really. Yeah, that's it. So he'll come. It's my turn to ask you a question.
It is.
All right, what's next?
See, it's all been planned out.
Okay, so we've already got 3 weeks to go before we set off. How are you feeling?
I guess this is probably more a question for you, because at the moment I'm not in Corporatesville anymore. I'm fortunate to be out of that, so my days are spent with Charlie, generally here, pootling around doing what I want when I want. So I've already got quite a nice taste of freedom. Obviously it's going to be greater because Jay will be with us. At the moment we only get that at the weekends. So basically weekends are just going to be longer in my view. Things aren't really going to change, but then we'll be back in the van, which I'm really looking forward to, because we sit in the van and it's just so nice. It's like being home, although this is home. This is a brilliant home. Our little apartment it's almost like a slightly larger van that doesn't move, I guess. That's how we've made it. We've even got storage above the sofa, just like you'd have in a van. So yeah, I mean, I'm feeling great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm obviously always a little bit apprehensive, because at the end of the day this is an experiment. We don't know if we're going to have enough money to keep going. We don't know what's going to happen, but hey, we'll manage it. Whatever happens, we'll survive. We've been through Bucharest in rush hour on a Friday.
Yeah, that was a
We
bad
can do
idea.
anything.
Don't do that, whatever you do. That was really silly. I suppose if I enter that one, it's a bit like, so we've only been back for 2 years, but it feels like a long time. And as we set this end of September date last year, sat in a pub beer garden somewhere, and decided that this was it. We'd get to this point and then we'd stop. Enough was enough.
It's so easy to keep going.
The temptation to keep going is extraordinarily strong. So just keep earning more money, because you just don't know, do you? Just the money's there. And both of our parents have struggled to earn money in the past, and have had to work very hard to get it. And so in some ways it feels pretty frivolous just stopping, but it's just one of those decisions I think everybody has to make. At what point you've got what you need in terms of financially, what you've got what you need, and you need to get other things. So for me at the moment I feel like it's a bit like running a race. If you ever run a race of any sort, you have to concentrate on the finish line and getting to the finish line. You can't think what it's going to be like after you've got the other side of the finish line, when you can relax. Otherwise you don't run the race well. And I've got to have to do a good job. I'm most of the way through a project. I've got to hand it over to another guy and do a good job of that. I most certainly don't want to burn any bridges, and the people I've worked for the past couple of years have been excellent, have been great people. So it's a bit difficult, because I'm just trying to focus on getting all this work done. So I'm fully in the corporate mindset really, but I know just on the other side is this sort of Nevada of freedom. It's just it's an odd sensation. So I can't wait really. I can't wait, but I'm just having to focus a little bit, force myself to focus.
And that's partly why we're taking sort of a 2-month break straight after we finish work, or you finish work, should we say, and then just not doing anything. We don't have plans for that. It is just going to be a relax, recoup, realise what it is we've achieved, congratulate ourselves, hopefully with a few beers, and decide what our next big goal is in life. What do we want to do? We like Jay was saying, we've just concentrated. The past 6-7 years have been to get to this point. What do we do next? I'll ask you a next question. That's what we'll do next. So, why are you going travelling again?
Because it's fab. It's really fantastic. There's something about, it's not just about going travelling. I think it's about being on the road for a long time. It's a bit about being away from your realm of comfort and your own culture for a long time. You start to kind of change a little bit. It's a bit difficult to explain, I guess, even if you've done it, it's perhaps a little bit difficult to sort of get your head around what I'm saying, but you kind of maybe revert a little bit to your natural self. You feel, I felt much more creative, much more outgoing, much more likely to sort of take on might seem like a bit of risk. I just felt happier doing that stuff. I felt really happy. It was very difficult to come back and to stop doing it. I was pretty depressed when we came back, and you know, the draw of it is just strong. There's so much fascinating stuff out there to see, so many very interesting people to go and meet and see different ways in which people have done things. You know, it's a real eye-opener. They say birds of a feather flock together, you know, which basically in my mind means that you think in the same way as all the people around you, and if you put yourself in amongst other birds, other people, you see how they think, and sometimes you just come across sort of extraordinary ways of looking at life that completely alter the way that you perceive your own life. And so yeah, I suppose that's why.
That could be fun.
It'll be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is. Okay. All right, getting down to the nitty gritty bit then. So how on earth can somebody afford to stop working and go and do this long-term travelling, mid-40s, peak of earning?
Early 40s.
Early 40s, sorry. I'm closer to mid-40s than Jim is.
Yeah, it's not my birthday for a few days yet. How can we afford it? It's a very good question. So there's the long story and the short story. I guess the short story is we saved up last time, and when we went travelling we had a fixed budget. Once that had gone, we'd have to come home, so we managed to keep our costs down, finding free places to stay, eating out at lunchtimes rather than evenings in Italy, eating an ice cream rather than eating out and stuff like that. So instead of the 1 year we originally planned to travel for, we managed to stay on the road for 2. When we came back, we set this goal that we want to get into this position to be able to go when we want, where we want, and that's going to take X amount of money. So we worked out how much money we thought it was going to take, which was quite a lot. A ridiculous amount of money. It's basically working out how much you think you're going to spend each year and times it by how many years you're going to be alive, and that's a lot. Especially if you're optimistic on how long you're going to live. So once we'd got this figure in our heads, we then set about working out how we were going to achieve it. A big break came when we discovered that we put money in pensions that we'd kind of forgotten about, which helps, but obviously we can't get to that for a good 12, 13 years yet. So it's now, what do we do to fill the gap? Do we get the pension money? We've slashed our spending, so we live frugally on the road. Since we've come back, we haven't really gone mad. Clad in charity clothes shops mainly, apart from underwear, I'd like to point out. Yes, always looking our best. But you know, there's nothing wrong with it. We get some great stuff from there. I mean, stuff still has labels on. It's ridiculous. So our spending has been slashed, and everything that we've earned has gone into investments. Jay's done a bit of financial education to learn a little bit about the stock market. So we've got some money in ETFs. What's that stand for?
Exchange traded funds.
Do you want to quickly explain what they are?
Yeah, so instead of trying to work out which particular company is going to do well and will pay the most in dividends and see their share price go up the most, instead of trying to do that, you just spread your money basically. So if you buy a share of a Vanguard FTSE 100 ETF, you effectively buy a slice of the whole of the 100 companies in the FTSE 100. So as the FTSE 100 bounces up and down, so does your money. It's called passive investing. So it means you're not paying quite high fees for someone else to manage a fund for you. Because typically active fund managers don't actually outperform the index they're trying to outperform. You're kind of better off having a monkey really that is a fund manager than most of them.
Sorry, any fund managers watching.
Yeah, I mean, don't treat this as financial advice by any stretch of the imagination. It's just the stuff that I've come across and looking at other...
This is what we're going on, basically.
What's that?
This is what we're basing all our stuff on, so it's not financial advice for anyone else. This is just us saying this is what we're doing.
Yeah, we've done it. Yeah, and there's stuff like asset allocation. So we've got money in pension funds, which is effectively in the stock market. We've got money that's in properties that are rented out. We've got a couple of solar PV arrays that generate a bit of money. We get some money from the blog, a little bit of cash from that, from the business that Jew runs, and some money that we get from the ETFs. So the ETFs really is more of a bit of a test at the moment to see how we get on with those. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you're buying anything from Amazon, please click through our blog because we get a couple of pence for that, and it all helps towards the ice
Get
cream
more than
fund.
a couple of pence normally, you get a few pence.
Yeah.
It's worth doing, yeah.
Cool. A few pence, even better. So I don't know if that's answered the questions. Basically, we've got money invested in various different things, and each thing provides us with a little amount of money each month. And we've written a couple of books. They provide us with a little amount of money each month. Put all those little amounts together, and we're getting in about 15 grand a month in money that we don't have to actually go out and work for. We've done the work up front, and the money's coming in afterwards.
It's a bit more than that, isn't it? Because it'll cover void periods on property rental and stuff like that. But
Is it? Cool.
yeah.
So if people stay in the properties, we can eat out more.
Yeah, I need to show you that big spreadsheet I've done.
Winner. I like having these conversations. Right, so I think we've covered off how can we afford it. That's what we're doing. So we mentioned that we're living in a small apartment we call the cooler. How is life in the cooler?
Life in the cooler is for me it's absolutely fantastic. Living in so motorhomes that we lived in, the last one was 5.5 metres long and about 2.5 metres wide, and that's got everything in it, including the driver's seat. 2.2 metres wide.
I used to have to check for the width on roads.
So roughly that's probably the size of people's bathrooms, you know, and that was it for us. That was a bed, driving space, living space, the bathroom, storage for all your clothes and everything else that you got, kitchen, everything was in there. And it kind of sounds like, you know, thinking about it, even though I've done it for 2 years, it sounds cramped, it sounds, you know, unlivable, especially for 2 people and a dog in such a small space.
It takes up a lot of space, Charlie.
It's yeah, surprising amount of space when it stretches out. But it proved to somehow be a revelation, not having much stuff.
That's nice.
And we I don't know how we did it really, but somehow we moved around each other and we managed to sort of separate our space and things that we. I guess we were moving a lot, and because of the fact that you're continually in a different place, you'd park and open the door and it was like the entire world was your home. You know, beaches, mountains, towns, villages, rivers. You know, all those deserts, all those wonderful places were just there on your doorstep. So anyway, so we kind of got used to living in a small space. So when we bought this property that we've got, we didn't. There's the bit that we're in at the moment that you can see us in was actually an old slaughterhouse. It used to be a butcher's, and it was converted into a sort of cold store, or 2 big cold stores were in here, and it was pretty rough. I think it's fair to say. It's pretty rough and ready. You
just to explain the property that we bought, it has a small shop at the front, 3-bedroom house behind that, and then this sort of outbuilding that was out the back. So we've converted the outbuilding into somewhere for us to stay.
So we
when
basically
we're in the UK.
Everything we'd got, because we'd still got quite a lot of stuff. When we came back, we stored all sorts of crap really that, you know, that we just didn't. We'd got a whole attic, a big attic boarded out in the house that we'd let out.
9 chopping boards. We had 9. Why did we have 9 chopping boards before we went?
It was nuts. That whole thing was nuts, and it was really painful to come back and deal with that stuff because we couldn't quite. We were in a different place when we came back. We couldn't quite believe, I think, what we'd done. Why on earth we'd got all this stuff? Because we'd really downsized by the point that we left as well. So we must have had 3 or 4 times as much stuff with our whole garage full of stuff.
18 chopping boards.
We haven't got any kids, and we've got a 3-bedroom house with 2 bedrooms full of stuff. And oh man, it was just it was crazy. So I love it in here. Really, we've got rid of all that stuff. With the stuff we've got in here, we need really. You know, even then saying that, there's stuff like wetsuits that we don't use very often. So yeah, I love it. So we've got this little private space here, and then we've got some tenants who are renting the rooms in the house who are nice people. You know, they've only just moved in, but they seem really nice people. So yeah, so it's a bit of an experiment, but it all seems to be pretty cool, doesn't it? Seems to be pretty good.
In the cooler, it's cool.
The cooler, yeah, we called it the cooler again from the Great. This is a bit of a Great Escape theme going on here. The bit where Steve McQueen's sitting there with his baseball when he keeps being naughty, that's us in here.
We're naughty.
We're not fitting in very well with society. Do you miss any of that stuff?
No, not now. Getting rid of it was hard. There were tears sometimes. I was packing stuff to go to the charity shop or putting it on eBay. So it was difficult to get rid of it. But I don't one bit miss it. In fact, I reckon there's more we could get rid of. But like you say, we're all right at the moment. We fit. My wardrobe's bursting, it has to be said. But it's it has a 1 in 1 out rule on it. But yeah, I don't miss any of it.
There's that stuff, as well as you having to sort of, basically it costs you so much in terms of the emotional drag it's got on you, but also the fact, like I said, we've got a 3-bedroom house and there's only 2 of us, so effectively we were paying for 2 bedrooms, a big house, to store all this stuff that we didn't need or want or use. So this is one of the ways that we've got to the position now is just accepting that, you know what, we don't need all those bedrooms, we don't need all that stuff, we just get rid of it. And the flip side is you buy yourself freedom. It's just it's extraordinary really, but it seems to work. I'm going to ask you the next one because I'm doing all the talking.
Okay.
What do people think, do you think, about what we're doing?
Ooh, I was hoping you get that one. No.
I don't know the answers.
Yeah, I could ask them, I suppose. I don't know, I mean, you get mixed reactions. You said yourself that when you tell people at work you're going travelling, the jaws drop. You're what? You're leaving? You're going travelling? You don't even mention the fact that we might not be going back to work because I don't think it would compute. But a lot of people say, "Oh, I'd love to do what you're doing. Oh, it'd be, you know, I always wanted to do that." And some people say we're brave. Some people can't understand what we're doing. Some people take the mickey. You know, oh yeah, you know, I'll buy you a drink, don't worry, and all this lot, because we're obviously everything that we spend, all part going back to the how can we afford it, everything that we spend, we write it down, so we track all our spending, and friends and family know this, so sometimes you get the mick taken, but there's the flip side. There's people that we don't know that write to us that say they've been inspired by what we do and what we're doing, and we get messages through the blog with people saying they're off travelling as well, having read our blog, which is a little bit scary, that they've packed in their jobs and hitting the road. So it's a whole range of things. To be honest with you, people can think what they like, we're happy. That's my thought on it.
So yeah, that's about right, I think. Yeah, that's good.
So I get to ask you the ultimate interview question then. This is the one I always used to hate in interviews. So, Jason, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
I'm trying to be honest on this thing, and that just inspires me to just lie through my teeth. Where do I see myself? CEO of a company, of your company?
Yes. I'll be doing your job.
I don't know really. I read one thing that kicked all this off sort of in my mind was my brother-in-law loaned me a book a long time ago called The 4-Hour Work Week by a chap called Tim Ferriss, and the whole concept of the book is that you don't really have to work for 40 or 50 hours a week, but it started off, the first bit of it was like, what would you do with your life if you only had to work 4 hours a week, and at this point now I'm working 40 hours and commuting another 10 or whatever, and I had no clue. I didn't know what my dreams or hopes and dreams were. I just didn't have any really. It was just go to work, get home from work, study. This is even in my late 30s I was doing this. Get up in the morning, early in the morning, fly to Germany for some meeting that was kind of pointless sometimes. Come back, do some more studying. Even if it was informal studying, I'd be sat there reading about work. At the weekend I'd be thinking about what I'm going to do at work when I get back on Monday. And that was it. That was my life. It was a sum total of what I generally thought about, you know.
Sleepless nights, thinking about work.
Yeah, there's plenty of all that stuff. But it was a real shock reading this book, just to realise that I didn't have any aspirations really outside of just what I was going to do to make more money. Well, not necessarily make more money, but be sort of respected and, you know, all those sorts of things with the work I was doing. So I kind of brush that stuff to one side a little bit now. It's not as easy as make it sound. But I want to. There's other things I want to do. I want to sort of develop. I want to be more creative. I loved the last time I went round. Just things like the books that we wrote, writing the blog, photography, having a play with the language so I can speak some French, but no other languages really.
We've been watching Rick Stein. Quite fancy learning to do some more cooking.
Cooking, yeah, trying some better cooking.
As opposed to, oh yeah, I got this out of a jar.
We learned quite a lot about history, I think, as well as we went, because things you just couldn't quite understand why things were the way they were, and you'd look it up and gradually learn about why things were the way they are. We sort of explain some of the things that happen now, which is really interesting stuff. So I guess for me in 5 years' time, I just want to be a more rounded person, I guess. Yeah, that's it. Maybe not to starve to death. That'll be a.
Personally, I'd quite like to have a sandals pattern on my shoe, on my foot, flip-flop pattern on my foot. That means I've had some good sunshine.
Yeah, we had really great suntans on our feet from where our sandals have been. Need to get those back.
That's right.
Yeah, I won't be wearing socks in 5 years' time. That's my plan.
Yeah. Cool. I think hopefully we haven't bored you to death, and the brews have gone. Yeah.
So we're gradually kicking our blog off again, OurTour.co.uk. So I don't know how often we updated it every day last time, which got a bit much, especially if we had a lot to drink. So I don't know if we'll do it quite as often again this time round. But if you're interested in what we're doing, then come along, and it's great to hear from other people. So yeah, feel free to drop us an email, or you just comment on the blog, or on Facebook, or whatever. We'll pick most of that stuff up and get back to you. If you want a question about something about how the engine works, something like that, we're probably not the right people to ask.
It goes.
Have a look on Motorhome Facts or something like that.
So it remains to say, cheers.
Chin chin.